I'm really excited to walk through to tutorialize to go through this project to show you how to build this. I'm going to demo it. It's kind of up there, I think, or is it behind me now? It depends on where I put it, but that's what we're building. And I'll go through it step by step, line by line, detail by detail. And let's get started on those details. So looking at our code, we have some stuff within the code that there's not objects for, there's not game objects for. So let's start working on those components. I'm going to go into so here's our action menu. And what I'll do now is I'm going to create empty. And this empty is going to be, oh, actually, let me delete that. I want to create it within our heads up canvas main panel, but our heads up canvas is also going to be create empty. This empty will be hero info, and it's going to be health and magic and an image of the hero. So hero info, let's go ahead then and add some images. So we're going to need a player image, and then for the sprite for this, we want the profile, which actually, we go sprites. I already grabbed it because it's provided with our asset set. There we are. And I think maybe, let's try 200 by 200. Way too big. That's looking a bit better. And then I'm going to go ahead and manipulate this. Actually, let's do hero face. And then in relation to everything else, where are we going to want this? It's currently at 0, 0, obviously. Let's see. We're going to want this way over. Yep, 535 is looking great. And then somewhere down here is nice. And maybe a bit more over something like this. I'm going to also grab a frame for it. So I'll just use one of these items. We could even do something like use the skull and have the face disappear when the player dies. It's kind of up to you. But for that, I'm going to do a duplicate on the hero face. And now I'm just going to throw this in here. And actually, and then let's shrink down the face just a bit or increase the frame. Let's actually try that. 190. 200. And this is just going to be personal preference. And now I'm not liking how the skull goes to the edges, so I'm going to just do something more like this. And there we go. Takes a little finagling, and I think since the frame's off center, I'm going to want this over a bit. And that is awesome. Now, I'm going to go ahead and combine. So this is the frame. So I'll say hero frame, and it's 1 unit at this point, which is good. That is what we want. Maybe negative 350. Yes, great. So now we have a hero frame, and the nice thing about this is once we're done with it, it's really easy to use this to create the enemy frame, the enemy info panel as well. And let's go ahead and add some labels. Text. And I'll say hero frame label. I guess I capitalize these. And what's our hero's name? Our hero's name is Wizard. Okay, and then let's go ahead. I was thinking of 28 for a font size. Oh, and overflow. Let's go back to the scene. Let's take a look. That will be fine. Wizard's fine. And for fonts, I'm going to click here. And I should have... Oh, I wonder if it's still hidden back here. Yep, there it is. Here are my fonts, because I never dragged them in. And... let me go into my assets. So I have all these fonts. They're completely free, so they'll be attached in the description. Fonts, go in that. Let me select all these guys and pull them in so we have some choices. Great. Let me close that up. Bring this back up here. And then, oh, yes, wizard. Okay. Click. Much better. I was liking something. No, I want it filled in. Yes, this one, I believe. Gunplay. Okay, and then 28 looks good. I really want it solid black. All right, and now I think we're in business. Center, center. And let's go ahead and move it down here and above our wizard. And of course, we can look at it in the game screen as well. So maybe we'll go up to 32 for this. I'm going to go ahead and make this 200 width, because then it will stretch all the way across, and we know it is centered. Great. So there we are. Now health and magic bars. Let's go into our sprites again. And I'm actually going to search for bar. Because what these will be a part of, these are a part of the other assets within the game. I think it's the Stone Age pack of the assets that we're using, but they're great for what we're... This might be the medieval pack. I'm not 100% which one's larger. Oh, they look to be roughly the same. That one might be more kilobytes, and that's the one we picked anyways. Oh, actually, let's make sure to drag it in. Not as a sprite, but we want to add it as an image. So hero, info, create, UI, image. Use this for the image, and yikes. So maybe the width is 200, and the height is 15. And maybe 200. Now, we don't just want to be dragging these directly in. What we're going to do instead is, I'm going to click up here, and I'm going to say UI, and make sure you click, though, on an item within the canvas. Like I'm right-clicking on Hero Info Panel. It's important. And I'm just going to do image. We do have the option of raw image, but what we want is image. This is the one we want as well. So for our image, I'm going to click and drag here. Obviously, that's a mince. Let's call this Hero Health Back. Position. We're going to want it way over here, and we're going to want to push this down. That's too much. Actually, negative 350. Let's go ahead and resize. Width will be... oh, nope, width is probably going to be 180. Height will be maybe 20. Nope. And so it's kind of hit and miss on this to get a size that you like, that you are comfortable with, that you think makes sense for your game. I'm going to maximize the use of space here, so I'm going to go over here. You can definitely see we have more. Let's take a look at 190. Yeah, something like that. And I'm going to pull this up a hair. So sure, 305 and negative 320 for simplicity's sake. I'm going to try one lined up though exactly. Let's take that. And these aesthetic choices that you'll be making constantly are entirely up to you, obviously. Great, so Hero Health Back is set to go. I'm now going to duplicate this. We're going to move it down to here-ish. So sure, negative 415, and that will be called Hero, of course, Hero Magic Back. Great and great. And then let's go ahead and have labels for those as well. And so I'm just going to grab this label that I'm already using, duplicate it. Hero Health label. I think that's way too big for the label on this guy. 24 seems a bit more reasonable. And we'll just have those lines touched like that. And then duplicate. Magic or mana label. Pull health above the back. We're calling it back because there will also be a fill. And then the magic's going to say magic. And then let's move this down. So this Y position is negative 310, and this Y position is 415. So that's 105. So let's say 382 should be 105, and that lines up nicely. And we can always look at it in the game preview area. So, well, I'm glad I did, because I'm going to want to increase the size of these. And I might want to smidge down the back a bit, just to give it everything room. Okay, I'm liking that. Also, we could increase the size a bit more. Again, this type of stuff, all of these aesthetic choices, you will have endlessly, but they do make game design fun. So I guess I'm increasing the font size to 30 and I've moved them up a... Alright, and now we need the fill for these. So I'm gonna right click the, let me close that, hero info, right click, UI and image. There we are. Now for the fill, I'm gonna use this and this. So let me grab this guy and drop it in for my image. I'm just gonna sound effects are great. And call this hero health fill. And the width, what did we go with? Maybe 180, and the height was 30 maybe, except this is gonna have to be even smaller than both of those. Let me zoom in here. I'm scrolling my mouse to zoom in. And then, so 20 is too much. 140 is too little. There we are. I landed right at 150 and then negative 310. Yes. Then 304 maybe. 305 and then maybe 145. Yes, there we are. So 145, 23 for height, and 305, negative 310. That's hero health fill. Now, duplicate. And I think we said minus 105, so negative 415 should be good to go. Yes. And we could use the different bar. We could actually just give this a different tint. Let's go ahead and give the different bar a shot. I do like the yellow for the magic. All right. And now with the wizard all set to go, making an enemy is actually pretty easy. Let me just do hero magic go. And then creating the enemy panel, all we have to do is do duplicate. And now we're going to start renaming and moving stuff over. Let's see how much though. For instance, the frame, we don't want at 500x, 0. Nope, not quite. And these measurements are going to be in reference to the center, so it will be a bit off, right? So I'm already doing too much work, because if you didn't catch what I just said, I'm going to hit Control Z here. They're in reference to the center. So if I make it negative, it will mirror it. If I make X negative, it will be mirrored. So instead of hero frame, I'm going to say enemy frame. Speaking of which, we need to get one of those. Enemy face. So enemy face, let's go to sprites here. Our enemy is the giant. I do think we already moved him, but we don't. Oh, nope, that's only face. As they left us. Nope, okay. So sprites, what we're going to do then is we got to get us a face. And that should be simple enough. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this basically. I can use Control D to copy game object, right? So I'm going to use Control D. And then it's going to copy out this sprite for us. So here's the original and the duplicate. And if you're unsure what the duplicate is, it adds 1 to the end. So instead of 318, which was 319, which doesn't make sense because this was the size, but regardless, let's just switch this to, oh, no, it is a multiple because we duplicated a sprite sheet that we've already used. And then I'm going to pick one that I like. I think this is fine. And I'm going to use scroll to zoom in. And we need just a square image. Something like this. And if we want reference, right, so that's how close the hero is. We don't need our villain to be that close, but it's kind of up to us. And we do want to be able to hide the background with this. So maybe something like this. And then I'll give this a name, and it will be giant profile, because it will be the profile pic. I'll apply. And then let's go ahead and close this guy. And here is our giant profile. So now we can go to enemy face and change it out for our giant profile. Ta-da! And now we have an enemy profile as well. Awesome. And again, it's kind of how you want to do it if you would want to get closer or further out for their battle picture. You could also do one where they are swinging or hitting or angry or whatever you think is tough looking that you like, which I'm now shopping for one. Yeah, so maybe I try another one of these. With more of my giant friend in it. Giant profile 2. Apply that. Let's take a look. Yeah, I'm liking that one even more. So that will be there where his profile pick. Notice the bubble though, always something. Beautiful. All right, so now this other stuff, as I was saying, pretty easy. Enemy, giant, and then for the position, all I have to do is make X negative. So I'm gonna go through and do all these real quick. And with this being a little bit closer on the side because we wanted the wood to be a bit uneven, let's go ahead and do maybe, let's add 2 to these. I'm adding 4 to them, I guess. And let's put the health with the health back, health fill, magic. Oh, no, I was kidding. I forgot. Let's leave it as is because of the order it is in for sorting and layering. All right, great. And there we are. We have a super duper panel. Now, I also might mess up because as you notice, the difference in size is left side panel, left side cap. Let's take this over a teeny bit. We go to scene if we want to see. But X, Y, I was thinking negative 370. Oh, nope, that we don't want to change. X is what we want to change. Maybe negative 184. Give us a little bit of breathing room. Great. So with those made, let's now, gotta change this up too. Our hero is here, hero health info, here's the actual hero, and we need melee prefab, which we do need to finish. All right, melee prefab. Now we actually have in place some of the components we need for our scripts. Let's make sure we save all of this, okay, and head over to the script. Just to fill in some of the stuff now that we've added. The first thing we should do actually is let's go down and make sure, are we on? Yes, we're on fighter stats. We want this to be able to be used. Fighter action, fighter attack maybe. Yeah, so this missing stuff, to be able to use this, we're gonna go ahead and just comment this out for now. Comment all the way down to here, and it's just a star and a slash. Let's go ahead and save that. Let's minimize this. I'm gonna take a look here, see if we have errors right now. Okay, and we do have 2. Attack script does not contain a definition for attack. Where do we have? Okay, so attack. And the reason it's doing this is because we can't, attack script doesn't contain a definition for attack. We just hid that. So if we wanted to bring it out, I could now do something like this. Didn't think about that being there. Okay. And so let's save all that and see what we get now. And there we are. Awesome. Finally. So now I'm going to head to Wizard. Oop, and this was applied right away. You can just grab fighter stats and drop it on to get it applied. Okay. And I'm going to hide the sprite renderer. Not big changes are coming to that. So let's go ahead and minimize it. And we can set up the stats. I'm going to do some default stats here. Let's say health is 50, health is 100, something like this. Keep it easy, we'll say 100. Magic will be 50. Attack will be 10. Defense will be 4. Range will be at the wizard, let's say 8. Speed will be 5. And experience, we can leave it 0. Let's do the enemy while we are at it. Now, obviously, the enemy doesn't have a bunch of stuff. Fighter stats, an animator, a fighter action script either. So I'm just going to grab all of these by holding shift and giant enemy. Oh, I guess I can just drag them over if it's going to be like that. And there we are. Let's fill in some stats for this guy. So for health is, we said 100. Let's be fair and do 100 for magic. Let's say giants don't use as much magic, 25. Attack, so that would be their just standard attack, their melee attack. We could do, I feel like they would have a stronger standard attack. Let's actually fix the wording of that. That's going to bother me because for clarity's sake, fighter stats, we're going to have a melee attack and then a range attack. So let's do melee. And then I'm going to control X or just cut this and paste it because I want it in this order. And I'm going to do a save on that. That makes more sense. Head back over here. It will update for us. There we are. melee for, am I on the giant or the wizard? I'm on the wizard. So melee should be kind of less strong, I guess. So let's do melee as 10. And then range as 15. I'll say defense is 4. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Now giant. Okay. Yep. Melee, we're going to say 12. Range, we're going to say 5. Defense, 5. Speed, 15. It's a super fast giant, which means the giant will get its turn before the wizard gets a turn. Okay, action script. Giant. Oh, we don't want the attack action script. That's only going to go on actual moves. And we don't have the animations yet for our giant. Let's go to our prefab here, though, and start working on this. So this is where we would do an animation name. So I'm going to go ahead and just default this to melee, since that's the type of attack. But let's default magic cost to none. It's not a magic attack. Minimum attack multiplier. And again, these are just the default values. We'll say, let's do 0.3. Maximum will be 1.1. These are just the defaults. Minimum defense, 0.4 to 1, we'll say. Okay. And now to make this a prefab, let's dive into our prefabs here. Enter, boom. And now we can just drag it right in here. And then we are going to need a range one as well. So we'll just duplicate this. Duplicate. Animation name. Range. We'll say animations for range attacks are often going to be magic. So we'll say it's a magic attack. Let's say it costs 10 mana, 10 magic points. Minimum attack, 0.4. Bit of a... but we'll say their defense is a bit weaker. 0.2 to 1, we'll leave. Okay. And that will be our range prefab. Original, nope. Let's see. Nope, we want an original. Whole new idea here. Let's make sure we save all this. And now I'm going to want to go over here. And that stuff I had commented out, no more. Goodbye comment. Goodbye comment. Let's save all this. And now we got to define some things within. So attacker's magic. And if we go up here, private attack or stats. So attack script, remember, set over here. Here's our attack script. Who's the owner? No one. And that's because, let's actually delete these prefabs and bring out prefabs for the wizard and for the wizard. So here we are. Who's the owner? Well, right now the owner of this move will be the wizard hero. Click. Okay. And who's the owner of this move? Well, it's the wizard hero. Okay, and we still have some red down here. We haven't cleared out all of our issues, and that's because we need to make these comparable. So way up here, we're going to add some stuff, and it's called an Icomparable, and we're going to need the standard using system for that to happen for us. Now, this will be underlined in red, as you see here. We're going to need the UI in this also while I'm up here. But that's actually not what's going to be affecting the redness of this. We're going to need to add some functionality. And what Icomparable does is it allows you to compare different objects in different parts of different classes. So I'm going to scroll way down here, and for this to work, you need to add a function that is referencing it, that is using it. Right now, it's annoyed that it's sitting in our program and not being implemented. So what we're going to do is we're going to be comparing different stats. So compare two different stats. I'm going to do an I++ here. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to do an int next for next turn. Next act turn 1, 2, 3 fighter stats other stats dot next act turn. Next act turn, and let me get this down and straightened out, and we can go through it. Okay. Now for this next act, this is that variable way back when we hid from our inspector. And notice that Icomparable has calmed down because we are now implementing an aspect of it. It looks like, oops, wait a minute. And there's, oh, right. I skipped over the reason we even have all this. Compare to. Stats. Other states we'll take care of in just a moment. And yes, what this is allowing is us to directly compare one fighter's stats to another, and to the chance of them going next on their turn, which is going to be impacted by speed. And we can also throw an element of randomness in there. So that's looking good. All right, let's take a look at a few things, and then we can get back to adjusting the game. Why is this red? Oh, just need an S on this. Other stats. That should take care of that. Let's save that. Let's take a look at this script. Attacker magic, magic cost. So we'll take a look at this in a sec. Let's go ahead and comment it out. So slash star and star slash, just to kind of disable that code for now, if you will. Looking at this, oh, this should be .ui. I'm not sure we interact with the UI yet, but that's fine. Save that. And this is looking good. So let me shrink this down a bit and take a look at our characters wizard. And awesome. This is all ready to go. And we can start filling this in. And filling this in is what we will be doing in the next portion of this series. And by that, I mean finish building out our characters, putting in the information about their stats, adding animations for the giant, so on and so forth. We have a bit more left to do.